Hari Om, my dear children. Welcome back to today's online session. How are you all? Hope you are doing well and utilizing your time in a proper way to learn new things in these days. Children, in our previous session, we have completed part 1 of lesson 2 in English, that is, My Home, Your Home. Am I right? Today, we are going to continue this session with part 2 of the same lesson, My Home, Your Home. So, before going to start part 2 of this lesson, I would like to revise what we have learned in part 1 of this lesson. For that, here I have given a brief summary of part 1. Now, I'll read and explain this summary of part 1 in brief. But children, before going to listen this session, read the lesson in your textbooks once and start listening to the session. So, here is part 1 of this lesson. Hope you remember that in this lesson, we are having two mice characters. The first one is Misty, that is a country mouse, and the second character is Mickey, a city mouse. So, Misty, a country mouse, asked Mickey, a city mouse, to visit him. So, here Misty asked Mickey to visit him. Misty gave him barley and cauliflower for dinner. So when Mickey visited Misty, Misty gave him barley and cauliflower for dinner to eat. After eating, Mickey talked about the delicious food that he was able to eat at his home. So, after watching barley and cauliflower, Mickey told about the delicious food which it was eating in city. And he invited Misty to visit him in the city. And Mickey invited Misty to visit him in the city. When Misty reached Mickey's house, he was shown the cupboard. So, after few days, Misty reached Mickey's house. In the sense, Misty visited Mickey's house. Then, Mickey shown a cupboard where it was living. So, inside it, some brown sugar had been kept. So, inside the cupboard, they kept some brown sugar. Just when the mice were having it, Mary, the cook, opened the kitchen door. So just when the mice started to eat the brown sugar, the cook, Mary, opened the door with a bang. Mickey and Misty ran as fast as they could while listening the sound of the door. Misty was surprised. Misty was surprised with that situation. Mickey calmed him down by saying that Mary would go away soon and they were safe. Mickey said that cook will go away after some time. There is no problem. We are safe. After Mary left, Mickey decided to give raisins to Misty. So when Mary left the kitchen, they again went to the cupboard. And Mickey decided to give raisins to Misty. Here raisins in the sense dried grapes. So they tasted even better than the brown sugar. So raisins tasted better than the brown sugar and Misty liked it. Misty ate it up quickly. Misty ate the raisins very quickly, as fast as it could. Suddenly they heard a cat sound behind them. So what happened when they are eating raisins? They heard a cat sound behind them. The two mice ran away as fast as they could. So when they heard the cat sound, they ran as fast as they could to their hole. So this is what we have learned in part 1 of this story, children. So now I am going to start part 2 of this lesson. Just listen carefully. So here is part 2 of this lesson. What is that? Asked Misty, alarmed. Mickey whispered, shh. Then he ran as fast as he could to the hole. Misty ran after him. As soon as they were out of danger, Mickey said, that was Bella, the old cat. She is the best mouser in town. If she catches you, you're lost. So when the two mice heard the cat sound, they ran as fast as they could to the hole. Then Misty feared and asked Mickey, what is that? Then Mickey whispered, shh. Just it did sound like fish. So here whispered in the sense said with a low voice. Then he ran as fast as he could to the hole. Misty also ran after Mickey into the hole. As soon as they were out of danger, so when they ran away from the danger, in the sense from the cat. Here we can see the cat in this image. So as soon as they were out away from the danger, then Mickey said, that was Bella. What is the name of the cat here? Bella, the old cat. She is the best mouser in town. So Bella is the best mouser in town. Mouser in the sense, here I have given the meaning for best mouser, the best mouse hunter. So the best mouse hunter in the town. If she catches you, you're lost. Mickey said, if she catches you, then you're no more, you're lost. This is really terrible, said Misty. Let us not go back to the cupboard again. No, said Mickey, but I will take you to the cellar. There is something special there. So when Mickey told about Bella, the old cat, which is the best mouse in town, then Misty said, this is really terrible. Here, terrible in the sense bad. This is really bad, said Misty. Let us not go back to the cupboard again. Don't go back to the cupboard again. Then Mickey said, no, but I will take you to the cellar. I'll take you to the cellar area. So what is meant by cellar here, children? Cellar in the sense, here I have given the meaning, room below ground level in a house, often used to store things. So cellar in the sense, room below ground level, which is often used to store things. Here we can see the example image for cellar. So Mickey told to Misty, I'll take you to the cellar area of this house. There is something special to show you. So Mickey took his little friend down the cellar stairs. They went into a big cupboard where there were many shelves. On the shelves were packets of butter and sugar. There were tins of grains and jams. Overhead hung bunches of onions, and there were spicy pickles in jars standing about. So, as Mickey said, it took Misty to down the cellar stairs. They went, here is the cellar, and both Mickey and Misty are going to the cellar area. So they went into a big cupboard where there were many shelves. Shelves in the sense, this word is the plural word for shelf. S-H-E-L-F, shelf. So there were many shelves here we can see. On the shelves were packets of butter and sugar. Here we can see the packets of butter and sugar. There were tins of grains and jams, and there were tins of grains and jams. Here we can see the tins of grains and jams. Overhead hung bunches of onions, and there were spicy pickles in jars standing about. Here the word overhead in the sense above the head. So above the head on the top shelf, onions hung. Here we can see the onions. And what were there? There were spicy pickles in jars. Here we can see spicy pickles in jars standing about. It smelled so good that it went to little Misty's head. He ran along the shelf and nibbled at some grain here and a bit of butter there, until he saw an especially rich, delicious smelling piece of cheese on a funny little stand in a corner. He was just about to put his teeth into it when Mickey saw him. So when Misty and Mickey reached the cellar area of the house and watched the food items there, and those items smelled so good that the smell of those items went to little Misty's head. He ran along the shelf and nibbled here and there. Here some grain, nibbled here some grains. We saw some grains there, just like this. And a bit of butter there. Here we can see an image of butter. And nibbled a bit of butter there. Until he saw an especially rich, delicious in the sense tasty, smelling piece of cheese. What is the item? Cheese. So until it saw delicious, rich cheese, it nibbled butter and grains. It saw the cheese on a funny little stand in a corner. Here we can see that funny little stand in a corner, and we can see the cheese here. So he was just about to put his teeth into it when Mickey saw him. When Mickey saw him, Misty about to put his teeth into cheese. In the sense, it is eagerly going to eat the cheese on the funny stand. Stop, stop. cried Mickey. That is a trap. Misty stopped and said, What is a trap? That thing is a trap, said little Mickey. The minute you touch the cheese with your teeth, something comes down on your head, then you're dead. So when Misty was just about to put his teeth on cheese in a funny stand in the corner, then Mickey cried. Here, cried in the sense shouted. Mickey shouted, Stop, stop. That is a trap. Don't try to eat the cheese. That is a trap. Then Misty stopped and said, Misty stopped tried to eating and said and asked Mickey, What is a trap? What is a trap? Here, trap in the sense, here I have given the meaning. That is here trap in the sense that is a device in which something can be caught. Usually we can see the mouse catchers stands in our homes. So this is also just like that only. So a device in which something can be caught. So that thing is a trap. Mickey said, the thing which you are seeing and which you are going to eat on a stand, that is a trap, said little Mickey. The minute you touch the cheese on the stand with your teeth, something comes down on your head. So when you touch the cheese on the stand, something comes down on your head, then you are died, Mickey said to Misty. Then little Misty looked at the trap, and he looked at the cheese, and he looked at the and he looked at Mickey. If you will excuse me, he said, I think I'll go home. It is nice to have brown sugar, raisins and butter. But I don't want to be frightened to death all the time. I would rather have barley and cauliflower to eat and eat it in peace and comfort. So Misty went back to his home, and there he stayed for the rest of his life. So when Mickey said about the trap, then little Misty was shocked. First of all, when they were eating brown sugar, who came to the kitchen? Cook Mary came to the kitchen. After that, when they were eating raisins, what they heard? In which sound they heard? They heard a cat sound. Am I right? So now when Misty was just about to eat the delicious cheese, Mickey told that was a trap. By all this, Misty was feared and shocked, and it looked at the trap, and he looked at the cheese, and then he looked at Mickey. And Misty said to Mickey, if you will excuse me, he said, I think I'll go home. Misty said, I think I will go home. It's nice to have brown sugar, raisins and butter. It is very nice to have brown sugar, raisins and butter to eat. But I don't want to be frightened to death all the time. So here the word to be frightened to, in the sense, here I have given the meaning for this word, children. To be frightened too, in the sense to be very scared. To be very scared. So Misty told, I don't want to be frightened. I don't want to be scared to death all the time here. I would rather have barley and cauliflower to eat. Even though I am having only barley and cauliflower to eat, I will eat it in peace and comfort, in a pleasant environment. Without fear, I will eat barley and cauliflower. So, by telling all this, Misty went back to his home. Misty returned to his home. Here we can see Mickey going back to his country. And there he stayed for the rest of his life. And Misty stayed for the rest of his life in the country only. So children, this is the story, My Home, Your Home. What we have learned from this story? So what may be a perfect home for one person may not suit another person at all. That is true for people as well as for mice also. I'll read again. What may be a perfect home for one person may not suit another person at all. That is true for people as well as for mice. In the sense, for example, in our story, Misty, the country mouse, living in its place very happily. Even though it is having barley and cauliflower only to eat, it is living here very happily without any fear to death. Am I right? As well as Mickey, the city mouse. It is also living very happily by eating brown sugar, raisins and butter in its place, in the sense in city. It was feeling comfortable in its place. Am I right? But when Mickey visited Misty in country, it felt Misty was not eating properly, not eating good food. So Mickey felt not comfortable with the country environment, and as well as Misty also felt very scared to the environment which Mickey living. But they are living very comfortably in their own places. So this is only the concept of this lesson, children. Hope you have understood the lesson. Here I am giving the animated video of this lesson to visualize what you have learned from this lesson. Watch the video carefully.
My home, your home. Once upon a time, there was a little mouse called Misty. He lived in the country. One day, he asked a little mouse called Mickey from the city to visit him. When Mickey arrived, they sat down for dinner. Misty gave him barley and cauliflower to eat. Mickey was surprised.
Really?
He said,
You do not eat well at all. You should see how I live. I have all sorts of fine things to eat every day. You must come to visit me. It is really very nice to live in the city.
Little Misty did just that. A few weeks later, he went to the city to visit his friend. Mickey took Misty to a cupboard. It was in the kitchen of the house where he lived. They climbed onto the lowest shelf. There, behind some stone jars, stood a big bag of brown sugar. Little Mickey gnawed a hole in the bag. Then he invited his friend to have some sugar. The two little mice nibbled and nibbled. Misty thought it was the most delicious thing he had ever eaten.
How lucky Mickey is!
he thought as he ate. Suddenly, the door opened with a bang. The cook, Mary, wanted to get some flour.
Run!
Whispered Mickey. They ran as fast as they could. They rushed into the little hole from where they had come in. Poor Misty was shaking all over. However, Mickey said,
That's nothing. She will soon go away. Then we can go back.
After the cook had gone away and shut the door, they stole softly back. This time Mickey had something new to show Misty. He took Misty into a corner on the top shelf. A big jar of raisins stood there, open. After much tugging and pulling, they got a large raisin out of the jar onto the shelf and began to nibble at it. This was even better than the brown sugar. Misty liked the taste so much that he ate it as fast as he could. All at once they heard a scratching at the door and a sharp, loud meow.
What is that?
Asked Misty, alarmed. Mickey whispered.
Shh!
Then he ran as fast as he could to the hole. Misty ran after him. As soon as they were out of danger, Mickey said,
That was Bella, the old cat. She is the best mouser in town. If she catches you, you are lost. This is really terrible,
said Misty.
Let us not go back to the cupboard again. No,
said Mickey.
But I will take you to the cellar. There is something special there.
So Mickey took his little friend down the cellar stairs. They went into a big cupboard where there were many shelves. On the shelves were packets of butter and sugar. There were tins of grains and jams. Overhead hung bunches of onions, and there were spicy pickles in jars standing about. It smelled so good that it went to little Misty's head. He ran along the shelf and nibbled at some grain here and a bit of butter there, until he saw an especially rich, delicious-smelling piece of cheese on a funny little stand in a corner. He was just about to put his teeth into it when Mickey saw him.
Stop, stop!
Cried Mickey.
That is a trap!
Misty stopped and said,
What is a trap? That thing is a trap,
said little Mickey.
The minute you touch the cheese with your teeth, something comes down on your head. Then you are dead.
Then little Misty looked at the trap, and he looked at the cheese, and he looked at Mickey.
If you will excuse me,
he said,
I think I'll go home. It's nice to have brown sugar, raisins and butter, but I don't want to be frightened to death all the time. I would rather have barley and cauliflower to eat and eat it in peace and comfort.
So Misty went back to his home, and there he stayed for the rest of his life.
Hope you have enjoyed the video of this lesson, children. After watching the whole video of this lesson, just read out the whole lesson in your textbook and underline the hard words and learn them with spellings. Hari Om, children. Keep learning. Thank you.